I'm talking about those who lead to the deaths of others, the killings. It's not an individual. It's not a person. It's not a person. It's a system.
DNA, because the only difference is the melanin. It has been disproven. Race is a social construct that I want to break.
Charles Clark dead, what some preachers are saying, as you can see on the screen, but I'm not going to play it. I'll only play some. And what the man of God, Pastor Chris said, and Brenda Peak said. Please, I would love us to watch the video to the end. It's a little bit longer, but subscribe, like, and share. Leave your comment on the comment section, and God richly bless you.
To honor evil.
But even in a tragic death, you cannot rewrite somebody's life. And I am all the more concerned about how America and the media is trying to remix a life of racism and white supremacy that went forth unchecked.
What evidence do you have that I'm a racist? I was just literally watching a video of you talking about whiteness as a whole, talking about whiteness as a concept, okay? And you were trying to explain how white privilege doesn't exist. Correct, it does. You are a white man, how do you know? What can a white person do that a black person can't do? Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs with they have a black sounding name.
That's not even close to being true. That's not even close to being true.
That is a literal.
In fact, it's the opposite.
I'm not gonna argue your experience. I'm not gonna. No.
See, now you have to listen to him under your rules because a black person is gonna say you're wrong.
I am. He can say I'm wrong.
I know. Come on up to the mic.
I know. I read your.
My name is Keemon Dixon. I have a really black name. Please tell me how 50% of my internships have been denied when I've worked for Senator Mike Lee, Mayor Trent Stack, Speaker Mike Schultz.
Hold on.
I worked for a Congressman, Burgess Owens. I've actually worked on his campaign. I've worked on the campaigns of John Huntsman Jr. Please tell me how my black experience and my black man has not given me. Go ahead.
You are here in the wealthiest country ever. Yes. At an amazing university with all the opportunity imaginable in front of you. And all you want to do is look backwards at everything that prevented you when you are a glaring example that there is no systemic racism and you can actually achieve your wildest dreams.
I never said that. Hey, I'm not the only black person who exists out there. There's so many people who this culture is affecting to this day.
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on earth?
What statistic is that? Okay, I need you to pull that up right now.
You can. Black Americans per capita on average.
Can you pull that up?
I mean, I'm hosting an event right now. I don't know what to tell you.
Of July, we had fasting and praying every day for the first 7 days. Because I told you it was necessary. We had to pray. We had to fast. Because of the things that were inside the second half of the year. And thank God that we did. Thank God that we did. Thank God that we did. It was just a short while ago I told you to pray. And we all did. Pray for President Trump of the United States. And then look what happened this past weekend. There's so much to say. I think that it is very foolish to believe that it happened by itself with that young guy, so smart, outsmarted all the security details and the police. So let's leave it there for the moment. Why the investigations? Well, when they ask all the necessary questions. But those were the things we're praying about. I told you, the effort to eliminate certain instituted different kinds of policies at different times that have led to the deaths of so many. But it's often difficult for people to consider that their leaders could actually do such things until it happens. But then it's too late. Then it's too late. The corruption in our world. And when we talk about corruption, I'm talking about those who lead to the deaths of others, the killings. It's not an individual. It's not a person. It's not a person. It's
sides to basically blame each other. You had folks that were in the liberal media saying that the person who unalived Charlie Kirk was a MAGA conservative gun nut. And then as the details started coming out, more and more people were starting to see the full picture of what had happened here. And the broader pattern recognition, specifically with this sort of ideology being weaponized against Christians. Now, there's so many details to this story that we're going to unpack in this video, but here are the things that we know according to non-biased news. This is a website called All Sides, and what's been verified to the utter disillusionment and frustration of the mainstream liberal media is that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with a male who is transitioning to female. This is according to the Utah governor, the FBI, and this was reported to Fox. And I think the deeper question that some people have, especially folks that watch my channel, is was Charlie Kirk unalived for his faith, or was this something that was just a political issue? We're going to get into that in a moment, but let's look at the other facts that have been now verified across the news. This is a website called All Sides, and it basically presents how the left and the right covered this in terms of left-leaning and right. The two reportedly shared an apartment in St. George, Utah, and according to the FBI, Robinson's partner has been extremely cooperative and had no idea he was planning the assassination. Robinson's partner, whose name has not been disclosed, is not currently accused of any criminal activity with the shooting. But what is interesting is that it says one of Robinson's family members told investigators that he had become more political in recent years and lashed out about Kirk during a recent family dinner. Many criticisms of Kirk have been framed around comments he had made about the Transformer community. And of course, how the media covered it. Well, big shocker, the folks on the left omitted the details around this romantic relationship, while the right wildly covered it. But it's not just that the person that committed this heinous act was in a relationship that has now been verified and confirmed. There's actually more to the story that I think shows the deeper issue of why this happened. Okay, so by far the most shocking revelation about this entire case was just made by the director of the FBI. Check this out.
Written note, did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday.
So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. That note was written. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note.
So now it has been verified that there was a note left in the home that the suspect shared with his furry partner. Now, another thing that's interesting is the internet detectives absolutely went to work on this. And this roommate / romantic partner of Tyler's, the person who did this heinous act, was into furry culture, had been transitioning from being a man to a woman for the past 4 years. And this is Lance Twiggs, the family member. This is based on information with a family member of Lance Twiggs. So the family member said she knew Twiggs was brought in for questioning. Okay. A neighbor claimed 2 weeks ago, several people driving cars out of state place were seen going in and out. They did not give off a good vibe. Now, as they looked into Twiggs, which is the boyfriend / woman, whatever he is, they looked into his social media accounts and found this person named Cherburn75, who posted right here to my side, and it says, "We effing did it." Lance Twiggs, the person who was in a relationship with the is apparently following people that are not just celebrating this, but are kind of alluding that there may have been multiple people in on this. And when they are going through the records and all of the online chatter, who knows what is going to come out of this. Now, the interesting thing is all of this has also gone on to widen the FBI's investigation into if online groups potentially knew in advance that this was going to happen. Okay, so this is no longer just a lone wolf situation. The feds are investigating if there were additional people that were potentially involved and knew about this. Okay, it says the feds have widened their investigation into the assassination to probe whether online groups and others connected with Tyler Robinson knew in advance about the plan to do this. The Post learned. Law enforcement sources said the investigators are examining leftist groups, both in Utah and online, to figure out if they helped him with the shoot or at least heard it was going to happen, which I believe would make them an accessory.
Any action will be too much for one.
Well, I have some things on my heart, and I appreciate every single one of you coming out so late this evening. But as I've been praying this afternoon, driving around like I normally do, and the Lord had some things to say concerning what's coming. And so I just interceding for the nations like my wife and I do, and our kids. he opened my eyes and he said, I want to show you some things that are coming. It's very serious. And so I'm going to go into that for you. But first, I want to show you what we stopped, I believe, in prayer.
I am along 85th West, right outside of Magna Main Street, where last night 2 men were arrested and at least one has been formally charged with alleged terror threats. I want to show you the video from last night. ABC4 was the only crew on scene to give you a look of the FBI serving a sealed search warrant. Now, charging documents say that back on the 12th, an explosive device was found under a news vehicle, and their investigation led them here to a home in Magna last night where they carried out that search warrant, and they found more devices. They thought them to be hoaxes, but the suspects telling them in interviews that they were real, so they had to evacuate nearby homes. We're told 58-year-old Adib Nasir was arrested and charged with weapons of mass destruction and threats of terrorism, among other charges. The second man, Adil, was also mentioned but not formally charged. We have not found those charging documents for Adil as of yet, but we're continuing to follow him, believed to have similar charges as Adib. Now, police are saying that their alleged actions created a significant risk to, quote, mass casualties, and that's what led them here to this neighborhood that is quiet now. But that wasn't the case late last night into early this morning. We were talking to neighbors, myself and our photojournalist Dennis Dolan.
And the CERN and this. And as they were sending up the Batman signal of the swastika, it was in the spirit realm. What the Batman symbol represented in the comic books and what we know is that was what brought Batman to that area. It was his alert. We need that. We need Batman, right? So Batman's symbol went up in the air. So this was a swastika that went up in the air, and it was black, white, and red around it, and it went up as a Batman symbol over the area of Europe. And the Lord showed me that they were summoning in the spirit a demonic wave of a Hitler-type spirit in Europe. This occult practice. As I was praying, I could see an uprising of anarchy in France like we've not seen before. As he was the forerunner, paving the way as like the boss of a two-state solution. I told you he would till the ground. He would till the ground and get it ready for the Antichrist to take over. That he was the Ishmael. A lot of people believe he's the Isaac, that he would be the one that you know, there's always an Ishmael before the Isaac, there's the Ishmael. He's the Ishmael. The Isaac's being groomed in the back of a curtain, being groomed by demonic spirits. And I saw the Isaac. And they call him the Mahdi. He's not on the scene yet, to the point where what we see the Ishmael. He'll till the ground. He's getting it ready. He's getting it ready for the Antichrist to take over in the days ahead. But the Lord showed me great civil unrest coming in Europe. So as we see these events taking place, this is what the Lord is warning us. And as I was watching out of Germany, I saw another in the days ahead. But I saw an attempt on Benjamin's life. Major, I have to be careful how I say this. Plots and plans, that's a good way to say. Hey, mute your side, Braden. I don't want to hear me talking.